Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
So it's the only tool you need other than your toothbrush. And it's a lot easier to floss now. And because of that, people do it. And then when they go to their dentist and their dentist tell them they did a good job, so they get validation on two fronts. They can feel the clean, and then the dentist tells them their mouth is healthy.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Hi, Brynn. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Marta. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, super excited to hear more about the story of the beginnings of your business and share my experience as well with your
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Okay, so my name is Brynn Snyder. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Slate. It's an electric flosser. And we are so excited because we like to help people achieve ideal oral health. My husband is a co-founder of our product, and he is a dentist. And he was noticing a lot of people experience dental anxiety. And he was like, if people just flossed, we'd help reduce a lot of their anxiety. But getting them to floss for some reason is really difficult. So we were like, what if we made it easier and more effective? So that's what we set out to do. I'm a mom of 5. My oldest is 16 and my youngest is 6. And I originally grew up in Alberta, Canada, and now live in Spokane, Washington.
Oh my goodness, what a story. Now I want to hear about your involvement in the process of let's start a business out of this then. Because obviously it wasn't overnight.
Yes.
I'm sure you heard him and his concerns throughout the years. And then, so now I'm super curious. And what were you doing beforehand as well to then make the decision, let's start this business?
Okay, so I do feel like I want to add a little bit of backstory. When I was a teenager, my parents said to me and my siblings, like, you can either work for yourself or you can work for someone, but you're going to have to pay for college and you're going to have to pay for these things. So if you want, you could start a business and we'll help you figure it out. And so that was a very wonderful. My mom was able to like teach me how to do books and teach me how to communicate with people and different things like that. So I did have that experience. And then my husband, he decided he wanted to own his own dental practice. So in 2017, we bought a dental office. And I learned all about running a dental office. So I feel like those things helped me grow. Starting a business is very, very difficult. And I think if you are doing it for easy, fast money, like don't do that. Like that's not ever going to happen. So I said to my husband, like, it's going to take 5 to 10 years minimum to get this business like rolling and doing well. Are we in it for the long haul? Because it's going to be hard. And because it was his idea, originally he was like, it's not going to take that long. It's just like gonna like, I was like, no, like it takes that long to start a business. So you have to know that, and also know like you have to have the funds. Like I haven't paid myself as much as a typical CEO because when push comes to shove, I believe in the business and I think it would be really nice to pay myself a lot of money, but it hasn't happened yet. So even if you feel like your company is successful, and I really think ours is successful and will continue to be successful, I still have to ramp that up. Like some of my employees at this point make more money than I do.
So you were a huge part in helping your husband get his business going, and you had those experiences with what your parents encouraged you to do beforehand. So I love the mindset of it's not quick money, it's going to take time, you're going to have to work at it and maybe not even pay yourself a whole lot to begin with and in the first several years. So you went in with this mindset, but you were supporting him in his business first with his dental practice. And then
tell us about the transition into starting this new business.
Yeah, so he was just like, I just need to help people floss. If they floss, they'd love the dentist and they'd have better health. And let's focus on preventative dentistry instead of reactionary dentistry. And I was like, okay. So actually at first I had 5 kids and I had a baby and I was like, you can do this. Like you figure it out. So he started working on everything. And then I said, everyone thinks they have a good idea, but we need people to back us. So dentists and hygienists. And so we actually made our product. We had to raise friends and family round. We raised about $300,000 from our friends and family. And then we used that money to make a mold and we sent our product out to 500 hygienists and 200 dentists.
Wow.
We wanted them, I said, like, I am not willing to invest the rest of my or next 5 to 10 years when I have a little baby. If this isn't something that other people than us think it's a good idea. And, if you ask your friends and family, they're always going to say, this is a great idea, but you need to see, like, do people need this? So we asked the hygienists and the dentists and 95% of them said they'd recommend it to their patients.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. So that's kind of when I started taking over Slate more, because Danny really wanted it to work, but we needed him to be a dentist in order to have money in order to do it. And so I took over in November of 2021. So he started working on it at the end of 2019, and then worked with engineers and different developers for the whole year of 2020 and 2021. And then we did a Kickstarter in 2021.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing the journey. And I do have some more questions about the lessons, but let's talk about the product.
Yeah.
What is it? How is it different from other flossers out there? Tell us more.
So most people know at least about an electric toothbrush. And so my husband was like, okay, what if we found an electric flosser? So he's like, why aren't people flossing? Well, the floss pick is the best option, but it's not effective. It doesn't stimulate the gums. Whereas if you use string floss, you're supposed to wrap the tooth, and wrapping the tooth then creates the stimulation your gums need. And so he actually put like a floss pick and his electric toothbrush together and was like, oh, those sonic vibrations are really good. So that helps go between tight contacts easier. But the second reason we floss is to stimulate the gums. And he was like, what if I invented a way to make it stimulate the gums better? Because that's 50% of Americans have gum disease over the age of 30, and over the age of 60, 70% do. Wow. So we were like, okay, obviously the older you get, your dexterity decreases and you need more gum stimulation. So we have a patented floss head. It has little corners that go into where your gums and teeth touch, or little triangles, and you roll it in and you go side to side. So it's a whole new way to floss. And then the sonic vibrations that are going through these bristles and ribs are then stimulating your gums and disrupting bacteria underneath the gum line. So we've just seen our patients who normally could never change, like they would use things and they wouldn't see change. And if we don't see change, we stop doing stuff usually. Yep. So our product has sonic vibrations. It has a gum sweeps and a tongue scraper on the back. So it's the only tool you need other than your toothbrush. And it's a lot easier to floss now. And because of that, people do it. And then when they go to their dentist and their dentist tell them they did a good job, so they get validation on 2 fronts. They can feel the clean, and then the dentist tells them their mouth is healthier.
Love it. Well, I will say my personal experience, thank you for sending it over so I could try it out. I wore braces in my teens. And so that's when I actually learned the importance of flossing, because I had no other choice.
Yeah.
I had to floss because I had so much going on in my mouth. But then getting older, getting a little bit lazier, and especially having to floss all my kids' teeth as they started coming in, using those picks, it is easier, but to your point, and even, I've heard it from the dentist, it doesn't work as good as the actual floss because you don't get it in all the way. So you feel like you're doing something productive, but at the end of the day, it's not really doing its job. And in using Slate and using your flosser, I could tell even before brushing my teeth that my teeth were cleaner, which is crazy.
Like you don't realize how much plaque is there until you use a product like ours. And then you're like, oh my gosh, it's getting rid of these things I don't really see.
Yeah.
It's like floss picks are for the big items like popcorn or beef jerky, but our product is to disrupt the little bacteria and plaque buildup that is on your mouth, in your mouth.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Tell us how, so you can plug it in to charge it, and then you have to change the head every so often. What are some of the particularities there?
Yeah. So what we noticed is if people had to replace the floss head every night, that would also reduce their use. And the most important thing is use, doing it over and over again. And so we designed our floss heads with the intention to be used for a week. So once a week, you're going to take it off, you're going to put a new one on. So it's really, I don't know how many people are watching this or if it's all audio, but you just pull it off with your thumbs and then you snap it back on. It's very easy to do. And then it's rechargeable. So you don't have to we say every 60 days, but I went 3 months without having to charge mine.
Wow.
So it lasts quite a bit of time, and it's cool because it has like a setting at 2 minutes, it auto shut off. So you'll know, oh, I flossed for 2 minutes or not. What we've seen is people can floss their whole mouth with our product much faster than 2 minutes. But sometimes if it like was in your suitcase or different things, then we know it will stop going off.
Yeah. And there's different speeds as well.
Yeah, so we have 8,000, 12, and 14. My favorite is the 12, and that's what we found that you need for it to be really effective. But there's a lot of people who have never used an electric toothbrush before, and it feels scary the first time you use something that's vibrating in your mouth. And so we have the 8,000 setting because people requested it. I personally am like, just go up to 12, but you got to give the people what they want. And what we've seen is we want people to floss. We don't care to use as long as they do it.
Right. It's better than nothing. And is it safe for kids to use? Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
So under 10 should have like parent supervision, just like a manual toothbrush.
Yeah.
Some people don't realize that your kids need you to help and watch them. But the cool thing is my 5-year-old, well, he's 6 now. He started using it when he was 3. And he would do it. And it's just like, I always say, it's like you're making your bed. They may not do it perfectly, but you're teaching them a habit. And before you know it, they're 16 and they'll do it completely by themselves. Yeah. So the great thing as a mom of a lot of kids, I will lay them down on the bed and then I can check their flossing. But it's been really fun. Little kids, really, they want to be like you. And if they see you flossing, then they want to do it too. And before you know it, you're going to help reduce your dental bill because your kids are not going to be getting cavities. Yay.
Which is very important. I love it. Well, where can people find the product? Is it on your website? Is it in other places?
Yeah, so we love when you buy it from our website, so slateflosser.com, but it is also on Amazon, and we are just trying to get into different wholesalers, and hopefully it'll be on some more soon.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure and have all the links in the show notes for people to go check it out. And I will say that I have tried it and I really enjoyed it. So people need to check it out. Now tell us more about the challenges of, I always say hats off and kudos to any product-based business out there. Obviously, whatever business you have, there are challenges, but when it comes to products and patents and trying on different things and manufacturing. Oh my gosh, it
Yeah.
just gives me a headache thinking about it. So tell us, what were some of the challenges and maybe some of the surprises that you faced along the way?
So we were very nervous about, because it's a whole new category, we were nervous about getting knocked off in China really bad. And so we actually made our product at first in the Philippines, which created its own headache too. But I think having products made abroad with this current administration makes things very difficult. But unfortunately, the best products are made at overseas for electronics. And
Yeah.
so we don't really have a choice, but now we have tariffs. So it's always something you have to weigh, like, where's my product coming from? How do I get it? Is this going to be easy or hard? Trusting your factory, making sure that you can. I've heard so many horror stories of like, oh, I really trusted my factory, and then I went to a different level and they were making my product for someone else, and so that's something I do think when you can, you should visit your factories.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's very important. Now, in terms of biggest wins, obviously all the feedback from the dentists and people in the industry, I'm sure that was huge, but what are some other wins, testimonials or whatever?
Yes, so we had some major wins in the last year. We got social proof. So we were in Allure and on Goop and Men's Health. So that was really cool. And then I think the biggest win of the year was we applied to be on the advice line for How I Built This. And we got on, and it was just, it had really good reach. So it was really fun to see that happen. And then I would say, yeah, I send out an email to anyone who buys our product from our website, and people, when they respond, I actually get the email, and seeing people be able to have change in their oral health, because when we worked at the dental office and I worked at the front desk, people kind of usually would get periodontal disease and they felt like they couldn't do much to change it. But the hygienists were like, just do floss at home. But there was a barrier to entry somehow. And now people are flossing, and I get messages that said, I was stuck at a 5 for the last 5 years, and I used your product, and now my gums are at a 3, and my dentist is so happy, and I'm happy. Also, I had a mom message me. Her daughter is handicapped and has never really been able to floss her own teeth. And so the mom is older. The daughter was 40. And she's like, for the first time in my daughter's life, we've been able to floss her teeth. And so that made me really happy.
Oh, that's huge. Well, congratulations. I know it's so rewarding. Obviously, we talk about the money and the success and all of that, but when you see that you're changing people's lives and their health, which we don't realize how much our dental health affects our overall health until you're at the dentist and they're like, this is really serious.
I've been trying to tell people, and that's like, I feel like if we can educate people, if you have gum disease for more than 5 years, you're 70% more likely to get dementia. And so people don't understand that in order to have heart surgery, you have to get a dental note from your dentist saying you do not have active perio. So it's like, there's so many things, like our oral microbiome affects our gut microbiome. And so we're just trying to help people disrupt the bacteria so that they only have good bacteria in their mouth.
It's all interconnected for sure. And you can't live in denial because it'll show up somehow.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing about the challenges. And you talked a little bit about, how tough it is to start a business in the beginning. But what were some of the other lessons that you can think of that come to mind, and therefore advice for people who are thinking about starting a business or maybe are in the thick of it right now, whether product or service?
Yes. So I think making sure that you ask people outside your family if your product is something they would buy. Also price point, because there's actually been a few people I've met who put their price point too low. And usually it's the opposite. Most people but I had met this girl and she was a jeweler and she's like, well, I wouldn't spend more than $40 on my product. And I was like, but your product is gorgeous and beautiful. And I think most people would spend $100 on it. And she raised her prices and she just made more money. And so I think getting correct pricing is really important. And not giving up. Like it is so hard. There's been so many nights where I've laid in bed and been like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this, or this is going to be really hard. And so I think you really have to believe in your product in order to want to continue. But I think the most beneficial thing I've done is found other women that are founders to network with. I message them when I have questions or I'm like, I don't know how to do this. So I always try to find someone who's almost like a mentor who makes a little bit more money than me that I could learn from and I can ask questions to. And it's really helped. I surrounded myself with women who made more than $1 million. And then when I hit $1 million, I found women who did 5 million. And then now I'm talking to people who do 20 million. So just find the people and ask advice.
Yeah, that support system and community is so important. Are you looking into mentorship as well and mentoring other business owners?
I love that. Right. I'm the busiest I've ever been right now. And so until I hire more people, I probably won't have time to be a mentor, but you message me on LinkedIn. There's a good chance that I will try to at least give you a little bit of time because I've found it so beneficial myself that I want to help other people.
Yeah. And I do want you to share where you hang out so people can connect with you. But before, I always like asking all my guests my $1 million question. You're talking about hitting your first million there. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is an empowered woman then?
I don't know. Is there a different way you can ask that question that might help me? There's just so many things.
Well, besides flossing,
yes,
a woman that flosses and prioritizes her dental health, what makes a woman empowered to you?
Well, I think the hard thing is it means something different for every single woman.
Oh, yeah.
And I think for me, being empowered, it's actually like not tied to my success. It's more, for me, it's like relationships, actually. I feel like if I can have relationships, and specifically right now, it's like with my children because I have a lot of them, but I could make millions of dollars and it not matter if I don't have relationships that matter to me. And so an empowered woman to me is someone who can nurture relationships, but also not be worried about. I've actually noticed a lot of women, once they hit their first million, they get like nervous to share with others how they did because people are judgmental and they think, oh, now you're rich. But just because you made $1 million doesn't mean you have any money. And so I think us being able to help other women and for us not to be ashamed of making money.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And yes, the reason why I asked this question is because the answers are always so different and it's fun to hear. I mean, there is a common theme, obviously, right? But I love the focus on relationships and because that's it. We struggle so much to create something that we're proud of, but at the end of the day, if you have nobody to share it with, it means nothing. And you need support to get there anyway. So
yes, it's hard to get there and then it's hard to stay there. And so
yeah, it's a never-ending journey. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. Remind us again, the website, how people can find the product, and also how can they connect with you on LinkedIn or other platforms you're in.
Yeah, so if you're looking for Slate, we're slateflosser.com or Slate Flosser on social. And if you want to connect with me, I'm Brynn Snyder on LinkedIn and Brynn Max Snyder on Instagram.
Awesome. We'll make sure and put that in the show notes. Thank you so much, Brynn. This was so cool. I love chatting
with you.
Thank
you so much for having me, Marta. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.